This video is for you. If you have been knowing that there is a better way of living, that there is a more joyful way that we can experience life, and you've been working for this in your life, you've been calling it in, you've been finding new ways of doing it, and this video will be describing some more epic ways that we can fully shift from the scales being maybe a little more around fear-based thinking, living in that kind of reality of, oh, I'm not enough, to, yes, this is happening. I am living my best life right now. So let's get straight into it because this is such a juicy one. So when we consider different ways of how we can cultivate the best life for ourselves, the first most mind-blowing aspect is coming to the recognition that we are creators of our reality. And I love this way that we can see it of my consciousness, or an aspect of my being that is real, that resides in a non-physical reality. We can also call this our expanded self, or whatever feels best for you. This part of ourselves is creating our reality the way that we see it right here, right now. And when we come into this recognition, we can realize that our physical reality that we are experiencing, the way that we are experiencing it, is absolutely perfect. The way that it is in its perfection already, right now. And now, and now, and always. So we can know this on a cognitive level and be like, yeah, I believe in that, that makes sense. But then the embodying bit is the bit which is more tricky, right? That's the bit where we fall into those old patterns of, oh, I can't believe they did that to me, or, you know, whatever other limiting beliefs that come up, like, oh, I don't have enough of this, I can't do that. All of these sort of beliefs that are within us, right? So one amazing thing that we can start stepping into is the fact that we will probably always have some sort of limiting beliefs coming up, some sort of pain that wants to be transmuted. But the question is, how do we go about it? Are we using that pain for our highest good? Are we using it? Are we transforming it into personal power? Or are we sitting in it and keeping that story alive? And this is where I would love to speak more about stories, because when we recognize that our life experience is being created by an aspect of ourselves, by consciousness, then we get to understand that we are living in this story. We are creating this story for ourselves that we are living in. And we get to shift into a place where the story doesn't feel like it's happening to and for us. The story feels like we are actively contributing towards it. We are actively molding it, shaping it in the way that feels most satisfying for us. And the way that we get to become this active participant in our own story is by reclaiming our power behind our limiting beliefs, which is something that I spoke about in my last video as well. So if that part in itself feels important to you, then definitely check that out. I will leave it in the link below. So we get to reclaim the power behind our limiting beliefs to be able to shift our beliefs into a completely new set of beliefs that creates a different reality. Because it is through our beliefs that we create our reality. So we get to become really aware of what are my beliefs around my reality. What do I believe is true? What do I think? If I'm thinking, oh, I don't have enough money to do that thing, I will continuously not have enough money to do that thing. if I become aware that I have that belief around money, then I can be really loving with myself, and I can be like, oh, there's that belief, there's that limiting belief. Okay, cool. Well, I know that everything that is being created is perfect. So I get to pour love onto that belief, pour love onto myself for having that belief. It's not about judging ourselves and being like, oh, I can't believe that I had that limiting belief. How sucky of me. It's like, no. We get to pour love onto ourselves, our beliefs. We get to really experience the fullness of the belief, holding space for it in the most loving way, and coming back to the recognition that it is perfect and I get to rewrite it right here, right now. And so we get to then infuse this limiting belief with our beautiful energy of connection. And then we get to shift towards a different belief of empowerment, of I am enough, I am worthy to be able to afford to do this thing. I have enough money to do the things that I want to do in my life. And using this mechanism, we get to slowly but surely come into a completely different way of living. Because no longer are we giving power to that story that is one of limitation, that is one of frustration, fear, of lack, of these kind of frequencies. We are fully shifting into actively participating in the story of I am a limitless being. My reality is being created in the most perfect way, and I get to play, I get to enjoy, I get to just fully embrace this reality. And I love the word embrace, because when we say I embrace that, we understand, okay, I'm embracing it, we understand what that means, but we sometimes forget that embrace also means putting your arms around it. And that is such a loving thing to do, is, oh, I embrace that limiting belief that I have, that I am not good enough. I embrace it. And we get to put our arms around that limiting belief. We get to love it. We get to hold it. We get to be with it. And that's how we get to transmute it. Because the only way that we can ever shift into a reality of more joy, of more love, is by fully embracing our reality, fully accepting it. Accepting. Because when we don't accept, we're resisting, we're judging, we're pushing it away. And by pushing whatever it is that is in our reality, by pushing it away, we are saying it is not perfect, it's wrong, it's not good, I don't like it, ugh. And then we're just going to create more of those feelings within us, of frustration, of division, of, just those kinds of feelings, right? And as we know, there's nothing wrong with those feelings at all. And at the same time, we can also recognize that I can live a life that is more joyful. I can live a life that feels more juicy. I can live a life where more fun things happen for me all the time. And I also want to add that it's not about becoming attached to seeking the better life, because again, that is in itself a way of rejecting our current life, right? The one where we're not having as much joy. So this is where the mind gets really tricky, because the mind can chip in, the mind can butt in and be like, oh, well, yeah, we need to do the better thing, and oh, this bit isn't good. No. Let's reel it right back, because this, whatever we're experiencing right now, this is perfect. And coming into that recognition is the most empowering thing that we can do, because then we are completely letting go of the, like I was just saying, of the resistance of it. And if we can recognize that the good and the bad, they're all perfect and it's all exactly the way that it's meant to be, then we get to flow downstream, then we get to experience life in a completely different way. And it truly is about coming back to the empowerment, because we can live in a life that feels limiting, which is also perfect in its entirety, or we can come into a way of life which feels empowering. And knowing that both are so juicy, and knowing that both are perfect, and knowing that it is fun to transmute the energy. That is what life is about, because we are meant to experience contrast, right? If we wouldn't experience the bad, we couldn't experience the good. We all know this. So it's not about wanting to run away from the bad or only experience the good. It is not about that. It is about loving it all. It is about embracing it all, accepting it all. And when we come into this acceptance, then there's this playfulness, then there's this empowerment. And I truly believe that life is meant to be simply a fun game that we play. It's meant to be fun to experience the bad, to then experience the good. And the key difference is that we get to come out of victimhood, of feeling like life is happening to us, and I can't believe that, like when we're in this kind of frequency, like I was saying, it's perfect the way that it is. However, from my own personal experience, it's just not as fun. It's not as fun to be feeling limited. It's not as fun to be feeling like I am not enough. And so when we empower ourselves to embrace our shadows, embrace our limitations, love them, pour love onto them, transmute them, that mechanism is just so much fun. It's so much fun. So here we've been speaking about how we can transmute the energy of a lower vibration into a higher vibration. And what I would really love to acknowledge as well is that, yes, we are consciousness, we are non-physical beings creating an experience of a physical reality, so we can change our energy to be able to change our reality. And that is a beautiful truth that we get to embrace as well. And I also want to recognize that we are feeling this reality from a very physical perspective. We are in physical reality. I can touch the things around me. I have a body. And so the way that we get to connect to ourselves in the most loving and powerful way is when we first come into coherence within our body. And so there are three kind of centers of power, I like to call them, within our body, which we get to shine the light on and just become really aware of and get to relax into. And so those three parts are our belly, our heart, and our mind. And so we get to start with the belly, and we get to feel into, how am I feeling in this space? Is it relaxed? Is it content? Is it feeling good? And we get to become aware, and we get to notice. And if it is feeling tense, if there's something happening in there that doesn't feel right, we get to open up, soften into the relaxedness of that space. And it's not about judging. It's not about being like, oh, there's something wrong with me. It's all chaotic in there. It's about becoming aware and relaxing as much as possible in that moment. And once we feel like, yeah, this is the most relaxed that I can get to in this space right now, then we get to move onto the heart space. And we get to focus on our heart and feel into, how's it feeling today? What's coming up for me? And we can also tap that area as well, lightly and gently, to activate it. And we get to sense into, how open is my heart? How open are my shoulders right now? Am I closing my heart space, or am I open and relaxed? And even as I'm saying it, I'm feeling my heart space opening even more. So this is such a beautiful practice, right? And then we get to tune into this area, this kind of, I think it's mainly there. And we get to tune into this area and feel into, how relaxed is my mind right now? Am I struggling to have space in between the thoughts? Are my thoughts racing? Are they scattered? Am I all over the place? Is it kind of like involuntary thoughts just coming bam, 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 bam? Or can I feel the spaciousness? Can I feel this area relaxing? And there is truly a relaxation that can be gained in this space within us. And once we come into that relaxedness in the mind and the heart and the belly area, then we are in coherence with these spaces, and then we are fully relaxed in our whole being, physically. And this relaxedness is so important for us to be able to access that higher wisdom. Because if we are not relaxed in our body, if our body is signaling us, I am stressed, if our nervous system is not doing good, if we are feeling anxiety in our belly, if we are having adrenaline, lots of adrenaline going through our body, if these things are happening, then our body is signaling our mind, our thinking mind, I am not safe. I'm not safe right now. So do something, do something. And then the mind is like, oh, okay, what do I have to do? I have to be worried. I have to be stressed. I have to run away. I have to do that thing, that fight or flight response, or whatever it may be, because the body is signaling the mind that we are not safe right now. There's something wrong. Do something. And so then our mind, we can't use our mind to then access the higher realms, access our, I don't know why I'm going like this, like it's behind me, access our non-physical selves, our source, our higher selves, whatever we want to call it. And so this is such a beautiful practice to also come into, because yes, we get to work on changing our beliefs, we get to transmute the energy, we get to reclaim our power, we get to come into recognition that I have limiting beliefs and I get to rewrite those beliefs. I get to rewrite my life story and I get to love it and embrace it. And a very important piece of this is also acknowledging the body and allowing the body to feel completely safe and nourished, and give the body what it needs, and focus on these spaces to come into coherence, to be able to function in the best way, in the most relaxed way, so we can access the best information that is available to us. Because if we are in fear, we're gonna access more information that is fearful, that feeds that story of fear. But if we're in a relaxed state, if we're in a coherent state, if we're feeling whole, if we are feeling whole, and this is actually a feeling that we can literally feel in our energy body. We can feel our energy filling our whole aura and just feeling this lovely, accepting, powerful, loving energy filling our entire aura. when we are functioning from this way or this feeling or this perspective, then we are going to be accessing the wisdom that is a vibrational match to that, that is in coherence with that. So it will be wisdom of love, of joy, of making the best choices for ourselves throughout the day. So I invite you to give this a try, to come into coherence with your body, to reclaim your power behind the limiting beliefs, become aware of them, pour love onto them, know that there's nothing wrong with anything that we experience. It is all exactly how it's meant to be, and we can learn from every negative experience that we have, and we can grow from it, and we can transmute the energy, and we can just come into this beautiful way of living where we are no longer letting fear rule our reality, which, as I said, that's also perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. However, to me, it's more fun living in a way where that's not happening anymore. And I am living in a coherent, loving state, pouring love onto my life and fully accepting and loving my life exactly the way that it is. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, it really helps the channel grow, and share it with somebody who you think may really need to hear this wisdom right now. And let me know in the comments what landed with you in the most powerful way. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video.